Alors, je voudrais remercier de Fondation Auschwitz et expliquer un petit peu de mon recherche, mais je voudrais faire ça en anglais si vous me permettez. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'd like to express my gratitude towards the Auschwitz Foundation for honoring me with this prize. Besides the personal honor I feel in this, I'm also very much grateful for the acknowledgement of my work, my academic research. By awarding my thesis this prize, the Auschwitz Foundation has not only honored me, but all academics who do research in this field, which remains very important until this very day, but for which the means and resources are unfortunately not always self-evident. Therefore, I'm grateful for the support of the Auschwitz Foundation, as I firmly believe that academic research with regard to the Second World War can help us understand what happened there, which understanding can maybe, hopefully, help us in preventing such horror in the future. I now would like to explain a bit what my research was about. My main research question was, in what way was marriage and divorce law in Germany and the Netherlands influenced by National Socialism? And in order to answer that question, two other questions had to be answered first, namely, what is National Socialism and what changes did the Nazis make? Well, to start with the first one, National Socialism was in no way very original. It consisted out of several elements that various writers had come up with in the course of 150 years. And those main elements were Völkisch nationalism, the theory that defined the Germans as a group of people with a shared essence and shared characteristics that were different from other people, like Jews. Social Darwinism, the theory of the survival of the fittest. Racial hygiene or eugenics, the idea that population could be strengthened by carefully selecting who should procreate and who should not. And finally, anti-Semitism, the hatred of Jews. By the start of 1933, when the Nazis had just taken over in Germany, three goals were deduced from these elements. It's already explained, but again, the Aryan race had to be kept pure, so no mingling with other blood. The Aryan race had to be kept healthy, so hereditary diseases had to be wiped out. And the Aryan race had to be expanded. And the family was therefore regarded as the germ cell of the nation, which was clearly expressed by Adolf Hitler in Mein Kampf, where he wrote, "And marriage cannot be an end in itself, but must serve one higher goal, the increase and preservation of the species and race." Family law, and in particular marriage and divorce law, was subsequently used in order to reach those goals. The Nazis tried to reach their goals in the following ways. First of all, by preventing the mingling of races, by prohibiting racially mixed marriages and sexual intercourse. By preventing the weakening of the race, by prohibiting marriages between healthy Aryans and persons suffering from a hereditary disease. By facilitating annulment of mixed marriages, and by facilitating divorce in case Aryan children were no longer to be expected. An example of a law that tried to achieve these goals was the Blood Protection Law, one of the Nuremberg laws, which was adopted on 15 September 1935. The first article prohibited all new marriages between Jews and nationals of German or kindred blood, the so-called Aryans. But only prohibiting mixed marriages was not enough. Therefore, the second article prohibited extramarital intercourse between Jews and Aryans. Then a discussion arose about the term extramarital intercourse. What was to be regarded as extramarital intercourse? In a few court cases, it was decided that extramarital intercourse meant sexual intercourse. But then what was to be regarded sexual intercourse? Was kissing enough to count as sexual intercourse? And judges developed the crime race defilement based on this provision. And let me give you an example. Leo Katzenberger was accused of having an affair with Irene Seiler. Leo Katzenberger was a Jewish man in his 60s who had earned his fortune with shoe shops and renting out apartments. Irene Seiler was a German Aryan woman in her 30s, happily married, with a husband who served in the German army at the Eastern Front. She had known Katzenberger from when she was still a child, as her father was a friend of Katzenberger. Furthermore, she rented one of his apartments. As Katzenberger knew that Irene was unhappy, because her husband was at the Eastern Front, he tried to comfort her when he met her. Sometimes he visited her and he brought flowers to cheer her up. One of the neighbors, however, reported them to police, and Leo Katzenberger and Irene Seiler were charged with race defilement. Both defendants denied the charges. However, just by being friendly to an Aryan woman, Katzenberger had defiled the Aryan race, so he was sentenced to death. Irene Seiler was sentenced to 2 years detention in a house of correction because of perjury. Another goal was the expansion of the Aryan race, so many Aryan children were needed. Up until then, divorce law had been really strict, only allowing for divorce in case one of the partners did something wrong, like committing adultery. However, according to the Nazis, divorce should also be allowed in case it was very unlikely that Aryan children would be born in the marriage. Therefore, they introduced some new grounds for divorce, like refusal by one of the partners to procreate, a contagious or revolting disease of one of the partners, which made it unlikely that the partners would be intimate enough to beget children, or premature infertility of one of the spouses. Well, these are examples of Germany, but what did the Nazis change during 5 years of occupation in the Netherlands? At first, the occupying forces were reluctant to change Dutch law, as they did not want to cause too much of a stir. The Netherlands was seen as a brother nation, so the Dutch population should be encouraged to accept German ideas by not too much force. Therefore, the Nuremberg laws were not formally introduced in the Netherlands. However, since the number of mixed marriages kept increasing, mixed marriages were prohibited by means of a police regulation as of March 1942. In case of already existing mixed marriages, the Aryan partner was strongly encouraged to file for divorce. The Jewish partner was given a choice: voluntary sterilization or deportation to the East. In the Netherlands, one tried to extend the grounds for divorce as well. This was done by Jaap Schrikke, Secretary General of Justice as of 1941, who drafted a revision of Dutch divorce law, more or less based on the German marriage law of 1938. This draft revision was sent to Germany for approval in January 1945. However, the Germans obviously had other priorities in 1945, so this draft revision ended up somewhere on a desk in Berlin and was never adopted. Well, coming to the main conclusions of my research then, was marriage and divorce law influenced by National Socialism? In a nutshell, yes. All these changes that we have seen, all these revisions in marriage and divorce law were definitely National Socialist in character, and they have certainly influenced daily marital life of a lot of people. However, no. Conceptually, marriage and divorce law has not been changed. The concept of marriage, two people promising each other to share their lives in the presence of at least 2 witnesses in front of a register, has remained the same. And the same thing with the concept of divorce. Divorce is best avoided, only when there is a very good reason divorce can be granted. So was family law influenced by National Socialism? Yes. Did it become National Socialist? No. Thank you for your attention.